Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 3 of the Rich Energy British Mini Bikes Championship. And we are here at a very busy Whilton Mill Circuit for this third round, very popular track with the riders. As you can see from this superb drone footage, I would say the first couple of corners, first lap, will be very important indeed, as the 27 of James Mostico, who sits on pole, leads them out, followed by Matthew Davis in second place. Third for Julian Gromit, fourth was Phil Dickens, John Bolsover and Gav Tappenden rounding up the top 6 on the grid. 7th is Alan Brooks from Ben Douglas. Ian Wareham, 9th, Paul Histon will round out the top 10 from Ian Walker and Adam Redding in 12th position. 13th is Darren Hall from Dervin Lane, Al Morris, Tony Reveley, Gary Carter, Steve Allen in 18th position. 19th, unidentified rider from William Horner, Robin Kyle, Mark Jarrett, Chris Reed and Matthew Corbett in 24th, Dan Gill, Stu Bateson, John Pearson and Mick Price in 28th, Michael Judkins in 29th, Roy Marsden with no lap time rounds out the top 30. So 30 riders making their way down onto the grid for the SYMotos Pit Bike Vets. This is always a very competitive class throughout the field, a lot of experienced riders out there and some good names spread throughout the top 10 there. I think once again we're repeating ourselves here almost, but I think the first couple of laps here, I think, Jake, will be very important indeed, because there are quite a few top riders out there looking to get a good getaway and a good first few laps.
Absolutely. I did not expect when I was going to get up this morning that I would have, 15 bikes either side of me, inches apart from the edge of my feet, but I tell you what, that's better than breakfast. Anyway, and absolutely a fantastic battle in prospect for us. You've got such a tight-knit group of riders up at the front end of the field here. Quite a few of the midfielders wanting to charge their way forward as well. Pit Bike Vets definitely going to give us plenty of entertainment. Julian Gromit currently leading the championship standings as well, though, from third on the grid, so expect him to bolt out of the blocks straight away. He's had a perfect start to his season and he'll want to keep that up.
Here we go then, the riders ready, the green flag goes up and Pit Bike Vets race number 1 is underway. Great getaway on the inside.
He's not started. He's not started.
Gromit, wasn't it? Hit trouble. Mostico got away well, and yeah, it was. No, I think it was that.
That's Phil Dickens. That's Phil Dickens who hasn't got away. Gav
Tappenden's gone away well, and the 75 in the top 5 there as well. That's Julian Gromit then. He gets away in around 4th place, so riders stuck on the grid. It's always a nerve-wracking moment there when they don't get away, but everyone seemed to filter through that station rider okay. So there's Gav Tappenden in around 3rd position right now. James Mostico with a brilliant getaway. Gets the jump on the field from Matthew Davis. Tappenden 3rd. Relatively incident-free otherwise, as the rest of the top 10, the rest of the field make their way through. Ian Wareham in there, Adam Redding and Darren Hall, Steve Allen, all battling away on the edge of the top 10. They make their way down towards Boot for the first time. And let's have a look at that midfield battle. There's Tappenden, and I believe that's Matthew Davis in second, but James Mostico, great jump on the field, and he's gone and away.
Yeah, really good start, perfectly read the situation, managed to get off the line, no problem at all. Heartbreak for Phil Dickens. That's really ruined his weekend, and potentially a decent haul of points there disappeared for him. Out the inside now. This is the move from Gromit, trying to get through on the inside of Tappenden for 3rd position, and he needs to get on with this fairly quickly. His perfect score is definitely under threat after, it has to be said for Gromit, a rather lackluster start from his reputation. He's not really been able to bolt out of the blocks the way we'd like to see him do. So he's actually really struggling at the moment, but he's trying to come around the outside of Tappenden into Parker. There's no way he's going to let a cheap overtaking move out today, though, so he's going to have to try again as he comes out of Chapman. Hesitation from Tappenden.
I was just about to say, Gav Tappenden won't make it easy for Gromit. He's a very tough rider to get through sometimes, but it almost seemed to lose momentum. He does seem a bit slow into the corners there.
Done it again.
Yeah. Whether to set with a bike or something, but Tappenden looks very slow into the corners there. Look, he doesn't look comfortable on the bike at all, does he?
No, he's quite unsettled by the look of things, so it's not quite going according to plan. Mostico's just completely disappeared as the rest of the field have really struggled to get themselves up to speed. Bolsover's now in 4th place ahead of Brooks. Tappenden's still struggling. Again, I think it's tyre pressures. If you get it slightly wrong, then it completely unsettles. It changes the whole rhythm and nature of the bike. And where earlier in the day he would have been one of the fastest riders, which of course he was, he gets a good initial start, but if you don't get good rhythm in that bike and you can't sustain it with decent tyre temperatures, the pressures of these tyres really do count for everything. You'll probably see a dramatic change going into the second race between the pace that he has now, because they'll realise where they went wrong and make the adjustment, but it's too late for this first race.
It would seem that way because Tapton really dropping down the field. We've got the 77 here of Ian Wareham battling away now with the 115 just in front. It's a very close battle on the edge of the top 10, and Wareham looks at Adam Redding with a different number quite possibly, as Tappenden dropping like a stone here. We just touched on there, seems to be some apparent setup issues, because Tappenden normally is a rider who'd be very aggressive and very strong at the front, but hitting trouble at the moment. There is the 77 of Wareham. This is the battle on the edge of the top 10. Gary Carter and Darren Hall just a little bit further behind. James Mostica, meanwhile, really has cleared away from the rest of the field.
Douglas. Douglas trying to move.
Having a nip down the inside there, the 71 of Ben Douglas. Trying the outside of Walker now. And Walker just positioning that bike correctly, I think, at the moment, just making that machine as wide as possible and making life tough for Douglas here.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's really got to dial into him as quickly as he possibly can. He can't afford to let the ground fade away. And this is the difficulty. When you're in the train, you've got to go for the overtaking move as soon as is humanly possible, especially around here at Whilton Mill, because you get stuck with the cork in the bottle, essentially, and you can't move anywhere. And all that pent-up energy, it needs to go somewhere, and you've got to make the overtaking move early. Otherwise, you're going to be impeding and losing so much time. If you look at Douglas and Walker, look, they're already 15 seconds off the pace of Mostica. This time he's going to get him, surely. Nice move.
Now, can he make that stick? Good block pass on the inside. Yes, he does. Important to do the block pass there to prevent Walker from repassing, and Redding looking threatening as well on the edge of the top 10. Mostica then still your race leader as the 71. Moving up a position there, Ben Douglas through Ashby. The 272 of Adam Redding now starting to look threatening as they make their way back towards the boot complex and the end of the lap. Mostica still your race leader, and the fastest lap of the race was a 54.652. Mostica still maintaining that fastest lap pace and really clear of Davis in second. And here we see a little bit further down the number 50, just looking who that, maybe Stu Bateson down a bit further down there as well, and
it's Andy Williams.
Andy Williams, sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah, this is a bit further down the field at the moment. Battling in the midfield, these riders, the 177 down there as well of John Pearson, battling for 22nd. So pretty close battle here. And this, there's the, I've seen that bike before, that's Stan Gill. The very smart looking bike there, the 27 on the bike there, the old Pepsi Cola Kevin Schwantz tribute graphics on that bike. Now these riders just on the edge of the top 20 in the close battle, and this might be a factor for James Mostica a bit later in the race. Well,
absolutely. I mean, he's lapping a second a lap faster than anybody else out there, Mostica, so this is going to get tricky. Oh, nice move on the inside line there from the 50. A very good overtaking move indeed there from Williams to slice up the inside of Pearson, and that was really well executed. But you're absolutely right. Mostica is lapping about a second a lap faster than everybody else out there. He's in the 54s. Nobody else can even break out of the 55s at the moment. So Mostica has managed to pull out about 7 seconds over Matthew Davies. No problem at all. With 6 laps to go, he could be well a dozen seconds clear. But as you say, you know, he's going to get into traffic before long, and these guys are in their own duel. They're not going to care squat about Mostica. They're going to get out of the way unless, you know, if there's a chance it will impede their own battle. But as far as they're concerned, their only interest is facing off against their rival and winning their own private duel.
Well, here they go. These riders just outside the top 20 at the moment. There's Stan Gill. You'll see the Pepsi Cola graphics, very reminiscent of Kevin Schwantz, you would say, as you see one of the Ovali machines just at the top of the bank, coming down toward, now that might be William Horner behind on the 68, coming down through Ashby once again. These riders battling just in around 15th position, just on the edge. There's the 68 actually of William Horner indeed. He's currently in 19th position. Can't identify the number of the rider in front, but I believe that would be Robin Kyle, riding the Ovali machine, which we'll see, of course, the Ovali Cup next time once the bets draw to a close. And that's that Ovali just going through there, just behind there. Horner having a look, trying to get the momentum on the outside. Now this is what we see sometimes, Jake, is you can make a pass into Christmas corner effectively at the starts of boot, because you've got to get the line on the outside, get that momentum going, and just carry it all the way through. As we see this sweep up to Christmas corner, you can make the move there. half a lap earlier, effectively.
Yeah, it's difficult to time it right, but you also have to make sure that it's not just about the move you make in that moment, it's also a lot about the exit speed as well. It's about making sure that you've got the move nailed in correctly afterwards. You can't just think about the one corner, you've got to think about the consequences of the apexes after that as well, and how the bike is going to feed out. It's nice to keep an eye on the Ovale there. The thing I like most about it actually is that it's tricky.
That was the 51, wasn't it, of Phil Dickens. Just flipped the apex there, didn't he? And
fair play to him to have fought back though, because he's up in 9th, would you believe? Well, make that 8th now because he's just dealt with Reading. So considering he didn't start the race, if you remember, he dropped it. Well, he basically couldn't start and then ended up trailing from the back of the field. So he has worked his way forward masterfully up into the top 10.
Just looking at Mostica there, charging through some of the back markers, and yes indeed, Phil Dickens charging up to out of Christmas corner, really on a move and making his way through the top 10. This is not going to bother James Mostica at all though, as we head towards the 4 lap marker. There's the midfield battle still charging away, being closed on by the race leader. And Matthew Davis out of sight in second place, but James Mostica looking very comfortable at the front of the field as we look at the, I think it's the 117 possibly, or 177 of John Pearson. There's the race leader, Mostica, going through Christmas nice and neatly through the midfield runners, and of course these riders having their own battle. Matthew Davis out of reach. It'll be interesting to see how indeed as you look at the left of the timing charts there, Dickens now up to 7th place, closing up on Tapperton, who seems to have recovered. And of course for these midfield runners, Jake, of course they know who the lead riders are. Once you see that leader come through, you're almost conditioned to expect some faster riders to come through, but for this lead, it's a bit of hard work just to get through the midfield battles.
Lovely move from Mostica to overtake the two, but at the same time, Williams decided, well, this is my moment, because we both got to move over and let the leader go by, but I'm going to use this as an opportunity, and he stormed back up the inside of Bateson to take the place for 19th. So nice bit of opportunism there from Williams to sort out the move. So Andy Williams gets through no problem at all there on Stu Bateson, with the likes of Jarrett and Dervin Allain still battling away with Stan Gill and John Pearson behind this lot. There comes the 75 of Gromit. Is he going to get the move now? Finally on Davies.
Not quite. Just holds that line off, doesn't he, on the inside there?
Working so hard here as well, and this is the thing. Mostica is, having an amazing race up front, although he is losing time in the traffic, so he's not going to have enough time to cane him, Gromit, but he can certainly get into second place past Davies, and that will at least alleviate some of the damage done.
Closing up on Stan Gill here, I think sees them coming and concedes the racing line to let those two riders through. So good awareness there from Gill, again checking the shoulder to make sure there's no faster riders coming. Gromit looking very strong here as we go through Boot, but can't find a way through at the moment, so there is slower traffic in front. As we head towards the last lap, James Mostica all on his own at the front, hasn't really dropped much pace either. Davis in second, Gromit grilling around the outside there. Oh, that was tight, going through to oblivion.
He nearly got caught out there by Bateson, who manages to get out of the way, but that was a very close run thing. Now Davies again has to protect as the leader is on the last lap, of course, but Davies here looking strong in front of Gromit. Gromit's got to come at him from a long way back. He's got to try and gain the ground and use the apparent momentum he's found to sweep by on the inside before Davies even knows he's going to be a factor. This is going to be a tough overtaking move from Gromit if he can nail it.
Well, Davis riding defensively here, guarding the apex of each of the corners, but in turn that's making him slow down. It really is allowing Gromit to close up. You saw how slow he was in the Christmas corner, guarding that apex. But Gromit's got the hard work to do here. Mostica, meanwhile, is about to take the flag, really all on his own around the final corner. Mostica wins, but all the action is for second place as James Mostica takes the checkered flag, and this battle for second place is going to go down to the wire, very close to the line, almost wheel to wheel, less than a tenth of a second. Davis just about takes second place from Gromit, bowls over fourth, and we're waiting now for Phil Dickens to come through. That's a great fight back to fifth position, and always very sporting after the line between the riders battling for position. Good sportsmanship, waiting to see where Dickens has come through. There he goes in fifth place. Quite a comeback for him though, of course, because he was stranded on the line at the start of the race.
Amazing to see him return to the top five. But yeah, good sportsmanship there displayed by Davies and Gromit. They managed to catch up.
And we are back down here in the waiting zone for what is always a popular race. This is the SYMoto veterans, some of the most experienced riders on the grid. Headed in the qualifying by James Mostica, Matthew Davis was in second. Julian Gromit qualified third from Phil Dickens. John Bolsover and Gav Tappenden rounding out the top 6. Alan Brooks in 7th from Ben Douglas, Ian Wareham, Paul Histon rounding out the top 10. 11th for Ian Walker, Adam Redding qualifying in 12th. Darren Hall in 13th from Dervena Lane, 14th position. Al Morris, Tony Reveley in 16th. Gary Carter, Steve Allen qualifying in 18th position. Further back it was William Horner rounding up the top 20 from Robin Kyle, Mark Jarrett, Chris Reed, Matthew Corbett in 24th. Stan Gill 25th, Stu Bateson 26th. John Pearson, Mick Price, Michael Judkins and Roy Marsden with no time running up the field at the back of the grid. They make their way up then for the formation lap, the second race of the day for the veterans, and this sponsored by SYMotos. And again, some very experienced riders out here and very high level of competition at the front here, Jake. And I would say that this second race, again, much like all the other classes now, it is a bit shortened because of the red flags earlier today. And the first few laps here could be very close indeed.
It gives us a really tight and intense battle, though, because essentially the riders before would take a couple of laps to get the tyres up to temperature and start to make those overtaking moves. Now you need those laps to make the overtaking moves. You've just got to pray that the bike is going to have the grip underneath you to storm forward. Where there were 12 laps of racing, now there's only 5. So obviously it's not great from the riders who are down the order, but essentially at the same time, you know, the flotsam and jetsam that's been littered around the circuit all the way through the day has compromised our race program somewhat. So we've just got to get through the remaining races and hope that we're not too far over the times of the schedule. We are going to be running a little bit later than we had planned to be, but the main thing is that there are no major injuries. There are only some slight severities of problems. But it's great to see that, you know, the racing is still very even and close. But certainly in the pit bike veterans, we saw a good little battle early doors as Julian Gromit worked his way back into position. I'm rather hoping that this time Phil Dickens can get off the line, because of course he was a bit compromised earlier on from that second row. So hopefully this time he's going to have a much better play of it.
So here we go, the last few of the vets making their way onto the grid. We'll be back underway very shortly. And like we say, hoping that Dickens gets a better getaway this time, because he stalled on the grid in the first moto. Looks like the last few riders are in position and ready to go. Grid is ready. The green flag goes up. Riders now waiting for the flag to drop. And Vets race number 2 is underway. Great jump on the inside from James Mostica. Looks like he's going to claim the corner and retain the lead. Gaff Tappenden getting away well in third from Matthew Davis second. Gromit and Bolsover rounding out the top 5. Now, for whatever reason, Dickens seemed to start a bit further down the field, as down the inside goes Julian Gromit battling with John Bolsover. Looks like a clean start on that first half lap as they make their way down towards Ashby for the first time, and getting away well there, James Mostica.
Well, Tappenden is really going to have a bit of pressure underneath him now, because Gromit is trying to hold on to that third place. He's got a bit of opposition now as he tries to fend off into position. In fact, is that Gromit through?
Yeah, Gromit's gone through to third.
Yes, he has. So he's made the bid on Tappenden. And look, Tappenden again looking down at the bike. I think he's got some issues with this bike, you know. It's not quite going his way. And John Bolsover is going to be catching him pretty rapidly on the 142. Tappenden, look, he's shaking his head. Shaking his head as he comes around. He's like, I've got nothing. Whether he's got no grip or whether he's got no power, something is not going well.
To be honest, Jake, after watching him at the first 2 rounds of the championship, this is a very different rider. He's usually quite, I don't want to say aggressive, but he's quite out there, and it's a very attacking rider. It just seems to be riding, it just seems no mojo in the bike at all, really. Just doesn't look happy at all, doesn't look comfortable, and really not troubling the leaders. But looking at the 75 here, of course, we've only got 4 laps to go in this shortened race, and Julian Gromit in the 3rd position now. Of course, time isn't on his side, looking threatening.
No, it's not, and this is a complete replay of the battle we saw between these two at the end of the previous race. It was Davies in second with Gromit trying to chase him down and Mostica up in front for the victory. Now Gromit has no time to play with here at all. He's just got to get stuck in and get on with it. Those elbows have got to come out. That stance has got to be a little bit more aggressive as they come off the turn. He needs to really up the ante now, so this is going to be Gromit, the championship leader, trying to battle his way through into second place past Matthew Davies. But Davies is no slouch. He's not going to give him any quarter.
Gromit tries the outside line coming up Fair Lady up the hill. Great move there on the exit, and will he claim the corner? It's going to be close into Christmas, but no, Davis has got the line. Gromit now, I think, will maybe try and square the turn off, go down the inside into Ashby, but Davis has got the line covered. Gromit having to trail there, and it was a good move there on the outside from Gromit, trying the outside line, the momentum on the outside, but couldn't quite claim the corner.
Well, if Davies had any doubt about just how close and intense Gromit's pressure is going to be for him, there's no doubt now, is there, around the outside of Crook and up Fine Lady. A big twitch from Davies. Gromit getting a little bit more aggressive, but again, Davies is able to just balance and give himself the position in the bike as they run through again. This is a little bit tighter around the far side of the course. The midfield battle really starting to tape it up as Gromit nearly strikes the cone on the way out of the final turn. The bike's looking a little unsettled now. I think Davies has got him rattled.
Trying to do all he can to keep the momentum up, but poor line there, it seems. And, well, this race is very fine margins here. Davis now pulling away. James Mostica, incidentally, fastest lap of the race with a 54.475, is pulling away from the rest of the field. At the moment, it looks like Matthew Davis has got a few good lines out there. Gromit losing ground, it appears, and for whatever reason, it just seemed to lose momentum. Very closely fought race. Those three really have broke clear. Gavin Tappenden doing a great job of holding on to that fourth place. He's a long way behind this, 7 seconds down last time round, but Gav Tappenden, with a bike for whatever reason isn't working for him today, is still doing a good job of trying to battle amongst those leading group of riders.
He's done his best, but it's only got a limited amount of time to do anything about it. Out in front, though, this man has just been serene for a second race in a row. Mostica going to score big here this weekend at Whilton Mill. The bike and he are at one with this race circuit. He really has been into a very settled rhythm ever since qualifying, where the bike has been perfect for him. He was the only rider in time qualifying this morning where he could lap the circuit in under 55 seconds. So he's definitely in a very nice frame of mind. But Davies, having completely outfoxed Gromit, has got himself well clear now. 1.2 seconds the gap between the two. So either Gromit's nursing a problem of some kind, or he's just phased out and thinks that, well, I suppose the best of a bad job. Oh dear, oh dear, the last lap. And two riders come together now. That's the trouble five.
That's Histon. And I think it was Ian Walker that got tangled up.
I think it was, yeah. So
Both
Histon and Walker.
okay.
But here's Mostica for the victory.
So Mostica around the final corner. It's been a faultless day for him today and takes the second moto in the vets. Looks very pleased with that one. It's going to be second for Davis. Gromit bringing the bike home in third. Lost a little bit of ground there. So the top three clear of the rest of the field. Gav Tappenden, great move for him as well to bring it home in fourth place with a bike he just seemed to be struggling with. Brooks in fifth and Douglas sixth position on the 71. Now I think we lost Histon and Walker in that collision.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, both riders I think are okay though. They saw them getting up, so
nice to see Mostica doing his impression of the Fonz across the line.
Yeah, it looked very cool, calm and
that
collected.
Was pretty sweet,
yeah.
Wasn't it? Hey, he was quite happy with that. But he's been absolutely perfect over the course of the day. Faultless from pole position. Both starts he managed to launch away quite nicely. And it's been pretty serene for him out front. He's not had a massive challenge of any kind, really, has he? He's just been able to get on with it and bring it home. And that's really going to help his championship status. It'll help him climb up the table once more.